All right. Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the second episode of Muscleology, the doctrine of all things muscle. How to build it, how you can lose it, how to keep it or maintain it, how to grow it, and how to take care of it. Try to cover all things that have anything to do with muscle building, in the worlds of bodybuilding, strength training, powerlifting, strongman, for the everyday man, woman, grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, younger person, older person, what have you, right? I'm here for, or we are here for, the regular people. I don't think there's much of an opportunity or a market geared towards, or at least specifically towards the type of people and categories that I'm mentioning. I've seen it for a lot of years now. Folks that want to get their health in line, they want to start weight training. I mean, you're constantly heard and preached at that you need to get your health in order, your nutrition, your diet, working out, getting in the gym, all the health benefits of it. But at the same time, nobody's really trying to help you plan how you can do this and categorize it in the realm of, you might be a young mom with 1 kid, 4 kids, or even more than that, right? Husband going to work all day. How on earth are you supposed to implement any type of training to help you better? You're constantly busy with the different age groups of kids. Or you dads and moms that are out there working full-time jobs as well. The world we live in, that's just the way that it is. Some of you have to hire daycare and things like that, and I completely understand. So how can we, as a muscle-building, healthy lifestyle, living, promoting bunch of people, gather in those people that I'm talking about? The type of people that I'm familiar with every day. I don't rub elbows with professional athletes in any one of those categories. I've met a few, but that doesn't mean anything. And they really don't themselves build programs and lifestyle coaching and training and things like that around people like that. And it can be very frustrating. And one of the biggest reasons they don't is they're priced out of existence, right? They really don't focus on people like I'm mentioning. And that's not disparaging any of those people. Trust me, I'm not anywhere near that level of those coaches that can coach those kind of people, the professional athletes in whatever realm that it is in. So as we continue to move forward, you'll notice probably every week there'll be slight changes in the appearance. Eventually I'll have my own logo hanging back here. Right now it's just kind of for decoration. To me, it's better than just a black sheet backdrop. The microphone set up and things like that, I'm trying to use different apps and recording devices and stuff like that to make it sound better. So bear with me as this goes on. I will be honest, it's an extremely big undertaking. Nobody really knows just how difficult it is. You're thinking all week long about what am I going to talk about to the small groups, large groups, mid-sized groups of people that might see my videos, right? Might see my Spotify and my social media. And, especially a guy my age, what in the world did I have to offer? If anything, I'm just an old guy sitting here ranting about stuff, right? I could sit here and complain about all the different types of things, but that's not necessarily how I am. I want to help people. The majority of my life has been focused around health and being stronger and being bigger, right? Now it's just focused around, for myself personally, about being healthy, being cut, being in shape, having all my blood work dialed in, sparing my joints, and being able to do this well into my 80s. My goal and my wife's goal, at least for next year, are to enter a bodybuilding show. In my mind, I would like to do at least one show every year because it kind of keeps me focused. And I'm the kind of person that has to have a goal in life that is attached to something that means a lot to me. And of course, there's a lot of things that mean a lot to me. First and foremost, my relationship with God. Second, only to that is my wife and then my children, right? And as they all get older and entering into the adult phase of their life, with a daughter getting married in less than a month now, there's a lot that I'm trying to fill my life with that my wife and I can be involved in to keep us going and to keep me having a goal mentally. Because I'm the type of person, if I don't have something that keeps me motivated mentally, I seem to fall off the rails. And then the first thing that go is my health, right? And then that affects every other aspect of my life. So And that's happened to me several times, especially in the last 5 years, but even throughout the 23 years of marriage and ever since I graduated high school in 1991. So with all that, the purpose of this show, the purpose of me launching a coaching business with both me and my wife, and the purpose of me wanting to do bodybuilding shows at least once so that I can say I did it. Then I could say, I did powerlifting meets, I did a strongman show, and I did a bodybuilding show. The bodybuilding show is probably the biggest undertaking I've ever been involved with. It is extremely difficult, and I'm not even in this year the serious prep that goes into getting ready to be on stage. If you've never really investigated just how involved being in a bodybuilding show is, and as a competitor, it's really brutal. And it's not the training so much, although that it does have its days where you really don't want to be in the gym because you're just tired for whatever reason, long, hard day at work. Things at home weren't going too well. You're under the weather. You didn't eat right. You didn't sleep right. Whatever it might be, all these factors can go into saying, you know what? I'm just checking out today and I'm going to miss the gym. And I'm not going to even sit here and lie. As a regular dad, as a regular husband, as a regular employee, a regular person of society, I still go through this. People can put on a front on social media and try and be motivating and making it look like they never miss anything, right? They never miss a meal. They never have a cheat snack. Their sleep's always dialed in. Their nutrition's always dialed in. They never miss any training whatsoever. Everything's just perfect and rosy. And that is just not the case. I don't care how high level of professional you are, you're going to have bad days. It's just the professionals that have been doing it a long time have coaches around them to help drag them back into it. And that's why I think, and that's what my topic today is going to be, is why should you, the everyday man, woman, husband, wife, mom, dad, grandma, grandparent, employee, whatever it is, pastor, person in the ministry, whatever it is, why should you hire a coach? Your first statement might be, well, I'm not entering any kind of competition and I don't want to, therefore I don't need a coach. But at the same time, you do believe. I don't think there's a few people that will try and mock health, and you can tell it by their lifestyle and how they look and things like that, right? But for the majority of people, they want to be in shape. They want to look good. They want to go to the beach and not be embarrassed about taking their shirt off or wearing a swimsuit or whatever it is, right? Walking around the yard, walking in public, going out to eat, all these types of things. Everybody wants to look good. And that is relative to each individual. One person thinks that this is the body type they want, and that fits, and that's fine as long as it's healthy. The next person wants to be a little bit elevated above that. They want to look ripped in a tank top or shirtless. Some guys they want to go with a typical healthy style dad bod. I would try and push any client that I had a little bit beyond that, but hey, if they've improved and they feel better and look better and overall enjoying their life and their blood work looks good and all these different types of things, and that's what they want to maintain and that's what we can get them set on, and they feel that they can hold that on their own now, send them on their merry way, right? Anybody that comes with us and decides after a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year or whatever, we completely understand. Any coach is going to understand that you're not going to stay with them forever, right? I don't know that there's any professional coach, starting out coach, free coach, whatever it is, that has a client that's been with them the entire span of however long they've been coaching, right? There's too many variables in life. People move away, people fall out of interest, people pass away, just different types of things, right? So I'm going into this understanding that you, whoever it is you might be, that choose us, Blue Water Physique, as your coaching team, realize that you're not going to want to be with us forever, And that's one of the reasons why I keep my prices the way I do. I don't believe, and that's the second thing, is I don't believe in pricing the everyday people who are struggling. And I said this last week on my last episode, which was our introductory episode. If you haven't watched the first one, I invite you to go watch it. It is an hour, a little over an hour long. Man, was it miserable trying to figure out how to edit and compress that down and going through the different apps. I am not tech savvy, so anytime I can literally get a video up online, I look at it as a success with somebody with my background. I am not an IT person, so I'm learning as I go. I'm really thankful for Grok and Google and all these different types of things that make it a little bit easier for somebody like me, right? I don't have the time to go to school to learn all this side of the stuff, right? But I've spent 35 years in the school of lifting. Been through all the fad diets, been through all the different training programs. I know all the different arguments that are out there online, and some of it is so scientific, and the words that they use to impress you is so way up here for all of us, right? And I'm just trying to bring it all down. I'm trying to make it easy. And what we do at Blue Water Physique is have a chat with you over a video chat or a phone chat, however you decide, a first free phone consultation. We want to know what your goal is, okay? And then we want to talk to you about, is that really attainable? Did you pick something that you've seen online and you're comparing yourself to that person, whether you're a man or a woman? And then we want to talk you out of comparing yourself to somebody else. And there's a lot of reasons why. Genetics are involved, okay? Your environment, how much time you can invest, what you have access to as far as gym, what you can do as far as supplementation, and a doctor and insurance covering certain hormone things, and blood panels. All this stuff really goes into it. And this is stuff that I've really been gaining experience through trial and error, through having several different coaches, through doing a lot of research, picking up a lot of material, just ordering a few books here recently that have to deal with the idea of steroids, testosterone. And no, I'm not going to be somebody that is prescribing people steroids, just so you know. But the reason I want to have that knowledge is I want to be able to warn people that are going to decide that route anyways, right? I'm not going to provide that kind of thing, can anyways. I'm not going to point you to the right kind of people or any of that stuff. If you figure that out on your own. But when I do talk about steroids, it will be what they are, why they exist, what they were created for, what they can do, the side effects, yes, the benefits, but more importantly, the side effects, and why you as just the regular person doesn't need to mess with them, okay? Unless you are a high-level competitor in whatever sport, be it football, basketball, anything professional, they are all using PEDs in one shape, form, or another, and I'm going to steer you away from that. What I will steer you towards, if you fit the age bracket, is testosterone replacement theory. I believe that everybody, especially over 35, that has established themselves with how many children they want to have and all these types of things. And even if you're younger and your numbers aren't where they should be and you want to have a family, there's things that we can do with that, because when you start introducing testosterone into your body, your natural production of testosterone as well as estrogen and all that type of stuff for females will stop, because your body wants to self-regulate. So there are protocols for that. So we want to be careful that you're at the right doses and you're doing it right. But we will always line you up with a doctor that is willing to work with you on testosterone, or we will line you up with a clinic. I myself am not going to try and prescribe anybody. I am not a doctor. And I want to put this right out there, because it's a disclaimer everybody that's going to get into this realm needs to put out. I am not offering you necessarily medical advice. I'm telling you what has been done, observed personally, what other people do, what doctors have said were good protocols, things to look out for, benefits, side effects, all that stuff having to do with testosterone and hormone replacement therapies. And I'm going to point you to good doctors that will help you along with that. I am not an expert. I am not a doctor. I'm not going to pretend in any way, shape, or form that I know more than a doctor. Okay, the only thing I will say about a doctor is if they are not willing to work with you on what you want as far as testosterone or hormone replacement, find a doctor that will. I have a couple that I can recommend. I will search for you good doctors in your area based on recommendations that will work with you. But if you have them old school doctors that are just telling you you're sitting at a 300 as a male, or you're sitting at a 50 or below as a female in testosterone, and ladies, your estrogen is tanked out because you're older and you're going into perimenopause and all that kind of stuff, and they're saying these are the normal ranges, that's not a doctor that you need. We need to find you a doctor that is going to work to help you feel the best that you can feel, okay? And both me and my wife have a lot of years experience in that, because we've done it, okay? And we are on those protocols, but we go through our doctor, okay? I don't want to be messing with your health. I don't want to do anything that's going to cause you to have a bad reaction or a bad side effect, okay? This is your life that's on the line. And all we want to do is offer advice and steer you in the right direction, how you can best come about these things and attain a good, healthy lifestyle on the hormonal side of it, okay?
What I do have a lot of experience in, and what I can train people, especially the everyday man and woman, grandma and grandpa, is coaching in nutrition, diet, and I use that word diet not in the fad diets, but having a good balanced diet, a lifestyle of eating that is the way you are going to do it for the rest of your life. Teaching you how to do that to meet your goals. Okay? It's wintertime, you're eating a little bit more, but you're eating clean. You put on a few pounds because you're less active. Hey, that's what we all do, right? Springtime's coming, you want to shed off a little bit of weight. We're going to manage all that. Okay? We've been through it. We know how to get you out of it. We know how to prepare you for it. It's all based around good, clean eating. It's not as miserable as you might think. Yes, going into a calorie deficit can be brutal, but that's all dependent upon just how badly out of shape and overweight you are. Okay? And this is why a one-size-fits-all cookie-cutter protocol isn't the way to go. Okay? Each individual needs some kind of a program, be it in diet, nutrition, meal planning, and workout protocol designed for them, where they're at, their age, their gender, their activity, what they have access to, all budget, all these types of things. All right. Now, I promise you, our budgeting isn't based on, or our pricing is not based on us trying to make a living at this. I have a full-time job. Okay. I don't necessarily need to do this in order to make a living like a lot of coaches do who are out there just hustling, making promises and doing everything they can to draw you in, be it through guilt and manipulation, be it through insulting your manhood and masculinity, insulting your femininity and your womanhood. I don't play that game. I don't believe in playing that game. That's not good for the long haul. That just insults and manipulates people and brings you on for a little while so they can suck you dry, and then you move on your merry way and you're no better for it. I don't believe in that. I actually despise that type of stuff, okay? I've fallen prey to it in the past, way in the past, and I just don't accept that. So our pricing is legitimately based on the fact that the more people have some skin in the game, they have something involved, basically their money and their time, means that they are going to pay attention to what you're teaching them, what you're giving them, and what you're expecting from them. We've helped many of people. And this isn't all people, but many of people in the past we've helped and given advice to, even wrote programs for, only to have them just, and just quit. Okay? Now, any of the people that are working with us currently, I'm not talking about you. Okay? And we have almost 10 clients right now, which I think is phenomenal for a couple that has literally just started into this business. Okay? I will tell you, I've been contemplating on doing this for some time. About 13 years ago, I tried opening my own gym. It was going to be a hybrid between CrossFit that was hitting the stage and was getting popular, strongman on the local level, which was gaining popularity because now people were creating implements and selling it online and things like that. And in powerlifting and things like that, you know, I wanted to have a space where you could bring them all together. And the area that I'm in at that time, it wasn't feasible, and it kind of tanked out. All right, and I kind of gave up. But I never gave up the idea of maybe someday actually being able to write programs and help people on a grander scale with their nutrition and with their workout, lifting, physique changing experience. Okay, so that's what Blue Water Physique is about. So my show today, and I've got a couple of ideas rolling around in my head, and I finally settled on this one for the week, is why should you hire a coach? Why do you need somebody telling you what you should do when it comes to eating and your exercise and lifting? Okay. And again, I don't care if you're somebody who's way overweight and is having a hard time even moving, or you're somebody who's relatively active and plays around in the gym once or twice a month, but really has no direction. Okay. And you've all seen them. If you've gone to a gym for the day, and you probably might be that person, okay? But we've all seen them, though. They get in the gym, they try this machine, they try that machine. They don't really even break a sweat. Then they get on the treadmill for about 10 minutes because everybody knows cardio's the way to go for losing weight, which is not factually true. Lifting weights is actually the best way to lose fat. So this idea of, well, let me do cardio and lose weight first before I start weight training is completely backwards, okay? And I'm here to turn your thinking around. Lifting weights properly, good technique with a good program directed towards progressive overload is the way to lose weight. And then dialing in your nutrition is key. All right. It's correct, and you hear percentages thrown out all the time, so I'm just going to throw one out there based on what I've seen and observed. But at least 80% of you getting your physique and health prioritized, number one, and improved is based on what you cook in that kitchen and put in your mouth hole. All right? That's just the way that it is. And until you bring that under control, I don't care how much training you are doing, and you can bust your ass in the gym. You can have the best program and all that type of stuff and be getting a banger workout, and you know you're doing good and sweating your butt off and putting in a good 45 minutes to an hour and a half of training 4 days a week, and you know muscle's growing and you're getting stronger and your rep ranges are going up and all that stuff. And your physique even changes slightly. But you're going to come to a halt and you're not going to be completely satisfied because you still have a lot of body fat. Your blood markers aren't lining up with what you think should be happening. And that all falls down to your diet. And that's why we structure meal plans, okay? We will literally calculate wherever you're at, whatever your body weight is and your age and your gender and all those things. We will calculate. We didn't come up with the formulas ourselves. These are what the pros do. What we do is take all the information that's out there, consolidate it, do it for you, put it on a program, and then track your progress. When you start your day, all we want is for you to look at your schedule. Okay, meal number 1, this is what I eat. Meal number 2, and however many meals we've planned for you. It could be 3 a day, it could be 6 a day, based on your time, your flexibility, and how things work for you. I don't assign just one thing for everybody. Bang, everybody's got to be on 5 meals, and these are the only type foods, okay? Now, we give a list of foods that we think you should stick to, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Lean proteins, okay? Everybody's favorite, your boneless, skinless chicken breast, your ground turkey, your lean pork loin, your extremely lean sirloin steaks, and then when you get into your vegetables, all your green vegetables, all those types of things. Fruits, we're heavy on fruit because people like fruit more than they like vegetables. It still has all your vitamins and nutrients and all the micronutrients that nobody talks about. And then your dairy products and your grains and all those types of things, your supplementation, your vitamin D, C, magnesium, all those different types of things you should be introducing into your body, melatonin, all lining up to help you get into the habit of having healthy habits. That you've done it so many times. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, when you go to bed at Sunday night, you wake up at 4 in the morning to go to the bathroom, you think, oh, it's Monday, it's chest day, and my first meal is this. It's just automatic like that. You've been doing it so long. That's what we want to get you to. And you look in the mirror and you're like, oh man, my physique's changing. You step on the scale, lost 2 pounds this week, okay? You step on there next week, oh, I'm only down 1 pound. We'll help you track why those things are happening. We want to make your life easy as possible, okay, to be able to sustain a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life. We also want to warn you, everybody's going to fall off the wagon sooner or later, okay? You're going to have a holiday. You're going to have a bad day. You're going to go into emotional eating, all right? We know all too well what that's like, okay? We're not stupid enough to believe that life is always going to be so perfect that you're never going to miss a meal or never miss a workout. That is foolish to think such a thing. Okay? And we are there to help you when those times come where you say, Coach, it was a bad day, this happened. And we're going to say, you know what? Take a break. Eat whatever kind of meal you want. Eat a snack or whatever, because it's not going to derail you. Even if you go off the rails for 2-3 days, we're going to say, okay, try and keep it dialed in as much as you can. But hey, if you just want to vent, that's what we're here for. And that's not, enough coaches don't do that. They don't get down there in the nitty gritty into your life and cry with you and do whatever's necessary to be there, to listen, to help keep you on the track. All right? And that's where I think we're different. And the people that know us know that I'm not just selling you something. That is actually the way that I am. And I think that that is a successful coach. Because a true coach isn't just somebody who writes you a program, says do it, collects your money, and then moves on. All right? A true coach is somebody who checks in you with, if not every day, at least every few days. How are you doing? Send me your food plan. Send me your form checks. Send me how you did, how your workouts, what did you miss? And then kind of get on you a little bit. And if you had a bad day, say, okay, let's do this, or this hurts, and work with you. And hey, Webb, mentally I'm just a wreck. And I'm saying, okay, vent. I got enough people calling me and venting for free already anyways. Do you want to call me and vent as a client? I'm not looking for friends, but if we end up developing a friendship, cool. I'm okay with that, right? Just don't take advantage of it. Because those things happen too, and we're all humans. We all make those kind of mistakes. So with all that said, I want to cover some top reasons why you should hire a coach. All right. So for a regular guy or gal who wants to look better, feel stronger, and get his health or her health dialed in, a coach is the difference between spinning your wheels for 2 years and actually getting results maybe in 6 months, especially when you're adding nutrition, peptides, supplements into the mix. Now, here's the thing. Peptides are all the rage, okay? You listen to this influencer and they say, hey, take this, and this. And I just happen to have a link and a code you should use and where you should buy them from. Gee, I wonder if it's actually not a conflict of interest to be buying peptides off somebody who doesn't give you any of the side effects, tells you a whole stack of things you should buy, and at the same time is benefiting off it financially. I do not sell peptides. I do not have a code. I am not linked up with a peptide company. If you come on with us, I will direct you to a couple of good sites that I trust, that I use personally. Okay. But I'm not making any financial gain. And you can ask any one of my clients if they're okay with it. I will direct you to them where you can get messages from them and say, yep, this is where we get it from. And it's worked. And I gain nothing from it. All right. So here are 10 reasons why you should hire a coach. You, everyday man, woman, husband, wife, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, high school athlete, whoever you are, you should hire a coach. Okay? Number 1, you skip the 2-year learning curve. All right? And what do we mean by that? Programming, form, volume, progressive overload, deloads. There is a ton of bad information online. And a good coach gives you what actually works for you on day 1 instead of you trying every TikTok workout. And not just TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook. I recently just got on TikTok, and it has blown me away the amount of professional steroid experts there are, workout experts there are, programming for coaching, nutrition, diet, cardio experts there are. I mean, everybody and their brother that has just entered into a gym is now all of a sudden an expert. And they're only 22 years old. Gee, how do they gain so much expert in every field and they've only been out of high school for 3 years? That is amazing to me. I wish I would have had that capability, right? I'm being sarcastic. I'm sure you understand that. There's no way anybody at 22 years old has enough experience in every one of those fields. I'm not saying that they're not working towards it, but they don't have enough life experience. They haven't worked with enough people. They haven't been on this earth long enough to experience all the different forms and things and catastrophes that go on with life and injuries and all these other things. Okay? That's why I'm geared. A lot of our clients are the 35 and over crowd. Okay? You've lived life. You've got kids grown and gone, or you've got kids that are, in that early 4 or 5 year old stage and beyond, and now you're wanting to bring your health back in line. That's the majority of the people that come to us. And that's who we want to help the most, because they are the ones that actually want to listen to what you have to say, okay? It's not that I won't help younger people, because I will. I most definitely will. And I'm going to try and keep this video under 45 minutes, and we're already at the 29-minute mark. So I'm going to continue to move along. I can be long-winded, but I want to make sure I explain myself as I go. So number 1 reason is you get to skip the 2 years learning curve that usually comes along with everybody when you're talking nutrition, hormones, peptides, and programming, and all the different types of programming that are out there. And there is a crap ton of them. All right? We can help you design what you actually need and not what this influencer is telling you need, and that you need to follow them so that they can boost their social media presence. Okay? Number 2. Because of form correction that serves and saves your joints. At 35, 40, 50 plus, a tweaked shoulder, a blown lower back isn't a 2-week setback. It can be a 6-month setback. A coach catches the small breakdowns in your squat, your bench, your deadlift, your bent over rows, or any of those types of movements before they become injuries themselves. That's why it's so important to send a form check. It's not that we're trying to nitpick you. It's that I want to keep you from getting injured. I want you to have good form from the outset, okay? The strength, the amount of weight you're able to move, the way you're going to look, all those things are going to come into play. But you need to learn form first. And the better your form in the beginning, the quicker you're going to get stronger, and you're going to avoid those injuries, okay? Injuries are the number one reason that will set you back and cause you to give up, because you went in there on day one and just thought you wanted, I used to be able to do this when I was 25. All right. And I'm somebody that completely understands what it was like to be able to do something at 25, 28, 30, as opposed to what I can do now. But what I'll tell you is being faithful to form over 35 years has kept me from having really, really bad injuries that have set me back for 6 months to a couple years. Now, I have had a couple injuries because of stupidity and ego-ness that have set me back for a good amount of time. Mainly my elbows and a couple of quad tears, tissue, not full quad tears, but tissue and groin pops. Okay, shoulder injuries and a little bit of a pec tissue tear. You know, these are things that had set me back for quite a while, put me out of 2 strongman competitions that I was trying to prepare for after I did my first one. And as you get older, you know, the ego's still there, but the ability to recover from injuries isn't what it was used to be. So I had to learn the hard way. And this is one of the reasons why I stepped over to the bodybuilding side, okay? Because it causes me to slow down, not be focused on superior strength, okay? And that was difficult for me, but I taught myself to divorce my mindset from being absolutely strong on one lift and turning it into relatively strong for reps and form and physique and health to keep me in the game for a long time. Okay, excuse me for 1 second. I'm going to take a little bit of a drink. All right, so number 3, a plan that fits real life. You're not a pro bodybuilder's life. You have work, family, stress, less than perfect sleep. A coach builds around that. A 3 to 4 day a week program that you can stick to, not a 6-day pro split that you'll quit in 3 weeks. Look, you're not a professional bodybuilder. You're not a professional football player. You're not a pro anything other than a pro blue collar, white collar, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, husband, wife. That's what you're a professional at, okay? And I want you to keep being able to be a professional at that with a better physique, a better healthy lifestyle, a better way of eating, and a better way of training that's going to cause people in your circles that you socialize with to say, wow, what's happening to you? You look phenomenal, okay? We can get you to that point through consistency, through being faithful to what we're telling you, for being patient, for sticking to the plan. When you break off plan, which we're prepared for, getting you back on plan, okay, all these type of things. All right? Those are another one of the qualities of having a coach is we can program specifically designed for you. All right? Number 4, nutrition without the guesswork and crash diets. Everybody over 30 most likely has gone through some type of a fad diet. And number 1 diet they always go to is just stop eating everything, okay? Pick a carnivore, a keto, a Mediterranean, you know, whatever it is, all right? All these fad diets are just that. They're fads. And we teach you just a consistent, clean way of eating, structured in a plan with the foods that you should stick to, and teach yourself discipline so that you stick to the same thing every day, with once in a while treating yourself maybe once a week when you've gotten to your goals or at least close to it. You see, what we like to do is when you're consistent with us for, let's say, almost 2 months, and we've noticed the scale go down and your physique starts to change a little bit and you're progressing good in the gym. All these things are starting to line up. Your blood work is looking better. You're feeling better. All these things. And you want to say, hey, Webb, I'm going to this social event. You know what? Have a day where you're just free to eat. Okay? Try to keep it as dialed in as you can so you don't trigger any old bad habits that you had, things that you can't control, okay? Realizing that you don't have to feel guilty because you did it. Now, this is something I really struggle with, all right? My coach, my and my wife's coach, who's getting us ready for our first bodybuilding show, has just raised my calories for 2 weeks back up to 2,700, okay? I had taken them from 26 down to 2,200. Since March, it's slowly progressed down to where I was down to 2,200, okay? And been doing it for so long that your body begins to do certain things where it's going to fight. And when you get down to a certain body fat, and right now he believes I'm sitting around a 15 to 16% body fat. And that's another thing you'll learn is you have more fat on your body than you think, okay? And when you start getting down closer to 10, it gets more and more difficult. But every pound off, and every percentage of fat dropped is a huge difference in your physique. There are literally, I used to hate my physique. I am the hardest on myself. My wife, coworkers, close friends will all tell you I am extremely difficult at and stubborn at accepting compliments, accepting that things are changing. But it's beyond me denying it now when I look in the mirror that a lot has changed. And this isn't prideful. And I just thank my hard work, dedication, my wife behind me, a coach that's kept me on track, okay, and giving us tips and things like that. I look completely different. And I've had enough people tell me they didn't even recognize me, all right? When I look in the mirror, I can see a huge change, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I have to bring myself to the understanding it's okay to step out of plan once in a great while and treat myself. That my physique's not going to fall apart. And that is a hard thing for me mentally, okay? But having been through this and going through this, I know how to get people back on course and talk to them in a way where they understand it's not the end just because you had a day of going crazy, okay? I might discipline you a little bit, give you some extra cardio the next 2 days to help bring it down, right? And it's not a punishment. It's trying to just get your system back up and running again. All right? So we're going to get you on, we're going to calculate for you your actual maintenance or whatever you need. Maybe you want to maintain what you got, okay? Maybe you want to put on a little bit of size. Most people, 95% of the people want to lose weight, okay? The regular people that come to us, they want to lose some weight. They want to lose some body fat. They want to look better, okay? So you need to be in a deficit. We're not going to try any fad diet. You're going to eat carbs, okay? And I know carbs are all of a sudden the enemy. It's ridiculous, okay? And we did keto and carnivore, and I'm not hating on anybody that does that for a short-term goal. Okay, I'm completely okay with that. I don't think it's the wisest thing to do because it doesn't develop a good relationship with food. Okay, we have all the macronutrients for a reason. You have carbs, you have fat, you have proteins, okay? Your body was designed to use carbohydrates as its number one fuel source to do the things you're doing. And if you do not have them, you are not going to perform at an optimal level to do the things you want to do. I'm sorry. You can hate me, kick me, throw stones at me. It is the way that it is. Okay? Fat is not a good fuel source. All right? I've said this before. It's like having a top fuel dragster and you pull up to your local Mobil and you fill it up with regular unleaded. Now, who do you think's going to run better on that quarter mile? The guy that actually uses the fuel designed for the top fuel dragster or the cheap redneck, okay, and I'm just using that as a joke, former redneck here, who pulls up into the Mobil and fuels up with just regular unleaded because he wants to save a couple bucks. Who's going to run better when they get on that strip? It's the same thing with the type of fuel you put in your body, okay? Carbs are fuel. Fat regulates your hormones and keeps things running properly. And protein is the thing that your body uses and breaks down to build muscle. And you need the proper amount of all three of those things to do whatever it is you're trying to do, okay? And your carbs are always going to be the highest macro we assign into your plan, all right? Number 5, supplement and peptide safety filter. A good coach is a supplement and peptide filter. This is the big one, okay? The supplement peptide world is full of underdosed, contaminated, or completely fake products. And a lot of protocols online are copied from 24-year-old, 25-year-old competitors. A coach who actually understands this space will tell you what's worth it, what's a waste of money, and what requires blood work and a conversation with your doctor first. Not me, your actual doctor. You want someone who prioritizes health markers over hype. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, okay? Like I said, I don't have peptides for sale, all right? I just don't. Maybe one of these days I'll get them so I can actually have them on hand and sell them cheaper, but they come from the trusted sites that I have pointed other people to. It's kind of like cutting out the middleman, getting it direct from somebody that you know and trust, okay? I don't know. I want to make things easier for people, right? But stop thinking that you can trust every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there on social media, TikTok, Instagram, and all this stuff, telling you what you use and what you can use, and not telling what actually benefits you, okay? They're going to give you a stack of 10 things or more, so that you need all this good stuff. It's going to do all these great things for you. You want to know how I know that's bullshit? It's because I done it. I have used all of them, almost all of them, okay? And I know what the regular person needs for their goals. Okay, and I am going to do an episode on peptides, maybe next week, maybe the following week. I'm not sure. Okay, I usually use a whole week to try and mull over the topic, and I'm trying to put out weekly shows to keep you guys coming back, to keep you informed, to keep you entertained, hoping that you guys will spread the word of my show, the type of people that might want to listen to it. I'm looking for interaction, questions, on all my social medias. DM me if you got questions. I'll build a whole episode around it if it's, if I think it's worthy enough, and that there's enough information. Not that your ideas and things like that, suggestions aren't worthy enough. That's not what I mean. But what I'm trying to say is if there's enough information around that topic, I might blend it in with something else, right? I can't have just a 10-minute show. So you come to a good coach. He's going to understand blood work and health marker accountability, which was number 6, and all the different peptides and hormones and testosterone and your blood sugar and your lipids and your hormone. A good coach will insist on labs and working with your primary care provider or clinic, not just to take this approach. Okay, this is how you do it responsibly. All right, is you come to somebody that you can understand is going to say, okay, let's see where your blood work is at first. You talk to any one of the clients that I have, and the first thing that I want them to do is get into the doctor, schedule an appointment, and I tell them the comprehensive blood panel, male or female, what they need to get, and then we look at it, and we look at the doctor's advice, and I line it up with some other good doctors who actually are a little bit more knowledgeable on hormones and peptides and things like that, and line it up and develop a plan for you, okay, and get you going in that department. You can't just say, okay, this guy said this is what I'm going to do. Start injecting 400 grams of testosterone into your body and using every peptide under earth, wasting all kinds of money and whacking your blood all out of shape, okay? Don't do that. And I'm not going to let you do that. I kind of did that in the beginning because I really didn't have anybody pointing me in the right direction. It was all trial and error, okay? And that's how I know I can help steer you in the right direction is because I made all the stupid mistakes, all right? Number 7 reason why it's good to have a coach. Consistency and accountability. Motivation fades. I am one of the number 1 people that would tell you I'm not going to try and motivate you every time. I will send you motivational things, tell you things to kind of motivate you, but I'm always going to preach discipline. You have got to be disciplined enough to do this on your own. We're all big boys and girls, okay? I don't have to motivate you to get you out of that bed in the morning, dads, and go on a Monday morning, go to work so that you provide for your family. You do it whether you feel like it or not, because you know if you don't, your kid's not eating, your wife doesn't have a roof over her head, neither does the rest of your family, the lights are shut off, you can't make your car payments, all these types of things, right? You are going to work not because you're motivated to do so, but because you're disciplined in doing the right thing. And that's the same thing a good coach is going to do. I'm not going to try and motivate you every freaking day to do what you need to do. Okay? I am going to try and encourage you, but at the end of the day, I'm going to get on you and tell you, look, you know the right thing to do. It's right in front of you. You've been doing it. Get up, get off your butt, and do the right thing. That's what you need. You don't need me to motivate you every day. Okay, you might think you do, but a good coach realizes motivation only goes so far. All right? We do that by weekly or daily check-ins, okay? Sending us your logbook, how you did for the day. Did your reps increase? Did the amount of weight you pushed increase? How your photos are looking, okay? How your form is looking, how your diet plan looked for the day, sending us photos of your progress. I have spreadsheets where I track your blood work. I track your progress weekly on your weight, your physique, photos, form checks. I keep all this stuff in a spreadsheet, okay? And we want to track it and average it all out and make sure we're progressing in the right direction, because if I don't think you're progressing quickly enough, there's usually a reason why, okay? You fell off on your diet. You're not really pushing yourself in the gym, and I'm going to push you, okay? Everybody's more capable than they think. Everybody's afraid of pushing too hard. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not pushing that hard. Okay, now, I'm not talking about injuries, severe injuries, things like that we need to rehab and work around. I'm talking about you just getting in the gym, and for that hour to hour and a half, busting your ass in there, making yourself sweat, and you should be almost hating life by the time you're done with that workout. And I don't care what any influencer tells you not to overtrain and all that hype crap. Get in there. Do your sets. I'm going to tell you which sets I want you to go on failure, tell you the reps, tell you what you're looking for, and I want you to give it your damn all, because that's literally the only way you're going to progress. Will you hate it sometimes? Yes, while you're going through it. But nobody has ever gotten through a workout and say, man, I wish I didn't do that. You look at it as you accomplished and you beat yourself and you know you're moving forward. And that's what a good coach is going to do. Okay, and we can do that by tracking your progress through the multiple ways, the health, the nutrition, the diet that you're on, photos, videos, check and form check, progress, and all those things, okay? Number 8, adjustments based on the data and not on your feelings, okay? You're not gaining, you're not losing, your strength is stalled. A good coach doesn't just say, try harder. He looks at your log, at your steps, at your food, at your recovery, hydration, and makes one smart, small adjustment instead of you changing 5 things at once, okay? It's little tweaks here and there, okay? It's not rearranging everything all at once and completely throwing you off whack. That's not what a good coach does, and that's not what we're going to do, okay? Moving along, number 9, okay? You learn how to think, not just what to do. A good coach teaches you why you are doing 8 to 12 reps on this movement, why you're eating carbs around training, why sleep matters more than any other supplement. And after 6 to 12 months, you can maintain it yourself. A good coach is eventually understanding that someday you're going to want to branch out on your own and you no longer need his service. You might message him once in a while, hey, I messed up on this. And a good coach is going to say, you know what, do this. They're not going to charge you for every little bit of advice, okay? While you're with them on program, there is a set price, right, for whatever it is that you want. And you can check us out on our socials. We have a tier plan for everything that we offer, from a simple, just a one-time program for lifting, a one-time program for nutrition, one-time program and talking to for hormone, or the packages for actual monthly programming and coaching. A good coach understands he's trying to teach you to be able to do this on your own as a lifestyle, okay, where you don't need me to write your programs anymore. And that's only going to happen if I'm able to teach you how to do these things, right? That's how this all works, all right? Number 10, it saves money in the long run, especially if a coach isn't pricing himself way out of your range. It's bad enough, the price of food. Okay, me and the wife just went to the store together the other day, and we didn't even pick up a small cart, one of the small shopping carts. Just a few things. And it was literally $97. Okay, this is why I don't go shopping. And now I understand why my wife is so upset every time she comes home from the grocery store or orders her online shopping cart. Okay, it is ridiculous for the amount that they are charging for groceries now. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the political side of things and the who did this and whatevers, but it's ridiculous. So why would I price myself out of range knowing that you got food to pay for, kids to raise, and all the other bills that go along with that, and you need a gym membership or build your own gym? I advise you get into a gym. It's easier and you're easier to maintain and stay on course if you're in a gym, okay? And then at the same time, tell you need to hire me. I can't do that, all right? So it saves money in the long run. Most people waste $200 to $400 a month on random pre-workouts, fat burners, peptides they don't need, plus a gym membership they barely use effectively. A good coach consolidates that expenditure into what actually moves the needle. If you're serious about starting, you look for a coach who works with non-competitors, people over 35 usually, just regular people. Okay, that's the type of coach you want. Requires food logs and training logs. Asks for recent labs and is willing to work with your doctor, doesn't sell you his own peptide line. These are the top 10 reasons why you need to hire a coach, all right? And there's some red flags and green flags that you need to look out for, and I'll kind of try and quickly go through this, all right? So, green flags, what a good coach does. He starts with health, not peptides, meaning he looks at your blood works. All right, we had a small glitch in the matrix there, so I'm going to have to splice these two together, but I'm going to wrap this up really quick. I've already gone longer than I said. So I was talking about green flags, okay? Reasons why you should hire a coach. Number 1, he starts with health, not peptides, okay? I kind of covered that before my phone glitched out on me. He separates roles, okay? Here's the best setup. Coach equals training plus nutrition plus lifestyle plus accountability. A medical provider clinic equals labs, prescription, peptide oversight, okay? Those are the difference. I'm a coach. I'm not a medical provider. I'm going to point you to the right people, okay? One person should not be diagnosing, prescribing, selling, and coaching you. That's a conflict of interest. Number 3, he's transparent about what's actually FDA approved versus experimental, okay? The majority of the peptides on the market are not FDA approved, okay? But they are allowed to be sold as research chemicals, okay? And I would get more into that if, people call me. I might, when I do a peptide thing, show, I will explain what that means, okay? But a lot of these are research. Now, I would never advise anybody to take anything that's going to be harmful to them, okay? So you can trust me on that. He focuses on the boring basics first, okay? For 90% of guys, 80% of the results come from protein target, calories, 8 to 10,000 steps, at least 7 hours of sleep, 3 to 4 progressive lifting sessions per week, your creatine, your vitamin D, your omega-3s if needed, and if he wants to add 5 compounds before you have 8 weeks of consistent basics, that is a red flag, all right? Number 5, green flag. He tracks objective data, weekly check-ins with body weight average, waist measurement, training log, progressive photos, how you feel, sleep, how your digestion is, and makes small adjustments to keep records, okay? He educates on sourcing and testing. He will tell you to look for third-party tested supplements. That's something that I would help you with, okay? The things that I would recommend are already tested, okay, and they're the ones that I use. Here are some red flags. If any of these things are considered red flags, if anybody that you're talking to about a coach says or does or suggests any of these, walk away, okay? If he sells you the peptides and supplements directly, all right, that is a big red flag. He's in it for the money. Number 2, cookie cutter protocols. He has the same thing for every single client, regardless of age, gender, availability, financial things, what you have access to. It's the same thing for everybody, okay? That means he's just AI'd a program, and he's assigning it for everybody, okay? Number 2 reason why to walk away. There's no talk of side effects or lab work, all right? He tells you to take this, 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 and this. It doesn't tell you any of the side effects. It doesn't tell you to go to the clinic or your doctor and get your blood work and go over it and see what needs to be changed, what needs to be dropped. Doesn't care about any of that. And good grief, is TikTok full of those people, all right? I literally got into some arguments and commentary on lives about these young people that don't know their butt from a hole in the ground, okay? Number 4, big promises and fast. I can get you in this kind of shape in 8 weeks. All right. If you're 350 pounds and 45 years old, he's not going to get you a beach body in 8 weeks. Okay. That's just impossible. So save your money. All right. He has no credentials or client examples that look like you. If all his clients are 24-year-old competitors and you're a 50-plus-year-old male or female with a job, a dad or mom bod goal, his programming won't fit. Look for coaches who work with regular. All right. Another glitch. I'm going to wrap this up quick before I get shut off again, and I have another video that I need to splice together. Learning as I go, folks, so just bear with me, all right? So I'm just going to leave you with this. Here's 7 questions to ask, and again, I put this on my Instagram, on my Facebook. You can read the slides in case you miss anything. 7 questions to ask your coach before you hire him. What labs do you require before we discuss anything besides creatine and protein? How do you handle training around old injuries? What's your approach if my blood pressure, fasting glucose, or lipids get worse? Do you make money from any supplement or peptide company I would buy from? Number 5, can I talk to 2 of your clients your age who are not competitors? Number 6, what does a typical week of training and eating look like for a new client like me? And lastly, number 7, when would you prefer me back to my primary care provider? Okay, those are all 7 questions that you should be asking the person that is trying to get you to be their coach. All right. A good answer sounds like this. We nail sleep, steps, protein, and lifting for 8 to 12 weeks. Recheck labs, then your clinic and I discuss if anything else is appropriate and low risk for your goals. I won't talk directly to your clinic or your doctor. You can match with what I suggest, and then I leave it up to you. Okay. A bad answer sounds like this. Don't worry about labs. I've got a protocol that's worked for hundreds of guys and gals. For this category especially, you want a collaborative approach. A coach plus you plus your medical provider all on the same page. That's how you get results without trading short-term looks for long-term health problems. Okay? All right, guys. Appreciate you sticking with me. I'd appreciate it if you spread the message about this show. Any suggestions, any questions, any ideas, please drop them in my messaging on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of those. My phone number is also on the flyer that we provide. You can shoot me and send me a text messages, anything that you would like, okay? You want to set up a consultation, we're here for you, okay? Muscleology is the podcast and the name of all my socials. Blue Water Physique is the name of our coaching service. You can check out our rates or call us and ask us for what they are. Looking forward to hearing from you. Appreciate this. This is turning out to be more fun than I thought, guys. I really like just sitting, looking at a camera and pretending there's thousands and thousands of people in the audience listening to me. So, with all that, why you should hire a good coach. I hope you pick me. If not, find a good one that meets these credentials and that can help you get started. At the end of the day, I'm going to say, regular Joe, regular Jane, you should hire a coach. Have a good weekend, guys.